Hey everybody, it's Rob. I'm back. We're doing another Offsec Proving Grounds practice machine. This time we're doing a machine called Pathway. It's a Linux box and it is rated as intermediate. And I thought it was pretty easy. I did take TCM-Security's training, and one of the things that Heath talks about comes up, and it's the main way to get your privilege escalation on this box. So you can see it took me about 23 minutes, and most of that time was due to enumerating to get my foothold. So you can see I am on Offsec's VPN, and I do have Pathway spun up, and here's the IP address. The first thing that we did was we ran an mmap scan, service version detection, T4 aggressive on all ports, 2280s running Nginx. It looks like chain app dev. There's something on 3089. Didn't really even come into play for me. And then 4566 is running Twisted Web HTTPD. The site doesn't have a title. So what I did was I immediately started to Gobust both sites. I'll be honest with you, if you Gobust the chain site on 80, I'll show it to you. It's one of these front-end websites that does nothing. The usual suspects pop up as far as Gobusting goes. And I didn't really get anything out of it. I did have a bit more success when I did Gobusting on the website on 4566. Now, if you go there, there's nothing to see. It just comes up and there's nothing there. But if you do some Gobusting, what you need is right here. It pops up with this internal directory. So if we go to internal here, it brings up this. Now, when I did some poking around, this actually looks like an AWS S3 bucket. So I had to monkey around with this a little bit. I was trying to see if these hashes were hashes or anything like that. Really what you're interested in here is this key, users.json. If you copy that and you paste that to the end of the URL after internal, so if we just paste that in there and we hit enter, it brings up the contents of the JSON file, and you can see we have two users, Brian and Huzed, and we have their help desks, their passwords. Now, when I looked at this, I started with Brian because he's the IT admin, the other guy's the help desk, so I immediately said, well, I'm going to try and SSH into the box with these credentials. So that's what we're going to do, okay? So we're going to open a terminal. We're going to SSH as Brian into the box. We're going to paste the password. And we have a shell as Brian. So if we do a pwd, we could see we're in his home directory, ls. We have local.txt, so we'll cat local.txt. And there's the flag. So now we just do our normal Linux enumeration, history. It's just ours, sudo tacl. And off the bat, you may say, well, he can run ping, not so much of a big deal. I didn't even check to see if GTFO bins had anything for ping. Let's just do a quick check. I don't think so. No, I didn't think so because I see that quite a lot with the suid set as well. So that's not the interesting part. This is the interesting part. Specifically this right here. I've seen this before, and TCM covered this in their course, Practical Ethical Hacking. This is called the LD preload. And when you see this environment keep, that means that the user can basically set the path for a particular library before the sudo command executes. A good explanation is right here, and I'll include a link to this in the description below. Normally, when you run sudo, there's this environment reset, which kind of compartmentalizes what can be done when you run the sudo command. When you see this environment keep paired with this LD preload, that's bad news, and it's very easy to exploit. I actually have some code on my website. I'll include a link in the description below. As far as how to take advantage of this, but it's actually really simple. You don't even have to leave this box. what we can do is we can do something, we can nano, and we can do shell.c, okay? And then the code that we're gonna put in there, it's only a few lines, but it's very powerful. So what this code is doing is it's setting the UID, GID, and then it's spawning bin bash, okay? So essentially when we run this, we're gonna get a root shell, okay? So now all you gotta do is hit Control-O to save, Control-X to exit. Now we need to compile it, and it's very simple. You can look up how to do this on the internet. This is straight from Heath's TCM training. It's right from my notes. So I'm going to paste the clipboard. It's GCC with these arguments shared. The output file is shell.so. So we're creating a library called shell.so. We're compiling shell.c with no start files. Okay. If you just use that exact phrase, you'll be fine. Okay. We'll hit enter. And if we do an ls, we now have shell.so there. Now, the way you take advantage of this is you type sudo, right, to run ping. But before you run ping, you set the LD preload to point to the shell.so library you just created. So we're going to copy that and we'll just paste it right here. So if you see, I have LD preload equals, and then I just have the tilde indicating it's in our home directory here. Shell.so, which is the library we just compiled, right? And then we're just going to run the command that we can normally run sudo no password, which is ping. And we'll just ping the local host. Okay? Now when we hit enter, because that library gets loaded, we should be able to get a root shell out of it. Okay? So I'm going to hit enter. And we do. So now that we're root, we can cd to root, we can do an ls, and we can cat proof.txt. And there's the flag. So I will include links to my GitHub library with that C code in it, and I will include links explaining the environment reset and the environment keep that you see up here. You want to be careful of this because this is super dangerous, okay, as you just obviously have seen. So all the links will be in the description below for that stuff. This is something that you should have in your notes, this LD preload, because it does pop up in these CTFs on a regular basis. So anyway, how we exploited this machine was we ran an mmap scan. We saw there were a bunch of ports open. Specifically, there was HTTP, Nginx on 80, which was just a front-end website. Ran Gobusting, not much there. There was another wicked HTTP, or whatever it was called, running on 4566. Now, when we go to the website, there was nothing there. But when we did Gobusting, we found an internal directory, which took us to an XML file for, it looked like an S3 bucket. And when we used the key there, we tacked that on to the end of the URL. We were able to dump a JSON file with all the users. Using Brian and his password, we SSH into the machine. We did our normal Linux enumeration, and on step 2 sudo tac L, we saw that the LD preload was set with environment keep, which allows us to preload a library when we're running the sudo command. So we created a very small C program that set the UID and basically executed, set UID, GID, everything, and then basically spawned bin bash. Compiled it, and then ran the command just as you see there, sudo ld preload shell.so ping localhost, and got a root shell and was able to cat out the flag. So I hope you found this video useful. I hope you learned something. If I used any links, they'll be in the description below. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, drop a comment. Love to chat with you. I do have a Discord server. The information is on my YouTube page. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.